Ever have that feeling where you can see a scene perfectly in your head, but when you try to write it down, the words just fall flat? Yeah, you are definitely not alone. Well, today, we're going to change all that. We are unlocking the secrets to writing descriptions that don't just get a pass, but actually wow examiners and earn you those top-tier marks. All right, so here's our game plan. First, we're going to get inside the examiner's head. Then, we'll build a totally foolproof plan using our 5 senses. After that, we dive into the cool stuff, painting with words, structuring your piece for maximum impact, and I'll even share some pro-level tools from the Elite Writer's Toolkit. Finally, we'll put it all together so you can go from practice to perfect. Okay, first things first, to win any game, you have to know the rules, right? So let's decode this exam. We need to figure out what an examiner is really looking for when they pick up your paper. Just listen to this sentence from a past paper. The air shook with a violent whump. It's not just describing a crash, it's making you feel it. That word whump, that's onomatopoeia. You don't just read it, you practically hear it. It's powerful, it's specific, and it's exactly the kind of sensory detail that screams top marks. But that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? When that clock is ticking, and you can feel the pressure building, how in the world do you pull something like that out of the bag? Well, that's exactly what we're going to solve right now. Now take a look at these typical exam questions. A rainy morning, a sports day. You might look at them and think they seem kind of simple, maybe even a little boring. But that's the whole point. That's the test. The examiner wants to see if you can take something ordinary and make it extraordinary with your words. So you gotta remember, they're not looking for a laundry list of things you can see. They are rewarding you for creating an experience. They want to be transported. They want to feel the sun, hear the whistle, and see the scene through your vivid language, all wrapped up in a clear structure that ends with a bit of thoughtful reflection. So how do you build that incredible experience? Well, I'll tell you what you don't do. You don't just start writing and hope for the best. Nope. Elite writing starts with elite planning. This is the single most important first step you can take. And the plan is actually super simple. It's a 3-step process. First, you lock down your subject. Second, and this is key, you brainstorm details for all 5 senses. Don't skip any. And third, while you're brainstorming, you start looking for those golden opportunities to pop in some figurative language. Let's try it with that sports day idea. Look how fast you can build a whole world here. For sight, you've got a shimmering track, and maybe banners that fluttered like waves. For sound, there's a sharp whistle. And you could say the cheering voices were like laughter that bubbled like a stream. See? This little grid is your secret weapon. In just a few minutes, you've got a complete blueprint for your entire essay. Okay, you've got your blueprint. You've sketched out the scene. Now it's time to pick up your artist brushes and add the color. Let's talk about the craft of painting with words, and that means focusing on figurative language. First up is a tool you probably know well, the trusty simile. It's a simple comparison using like or as, and it is one of the fastest ways to make your writing way more interesting and original. And this example just shows its power perfectly. I mean, you could just say people were laughing, fine, but it's so flat, right? Laughter bubbled around like a sparkling stream. Now that paints a picture. It connects a joyful sound to a fresh, lively image. That's what a great simile does. Next up in your toolkit, personification. This is where you give human qualities to things that aren't human. It's an absolutely fantastic technique for making a scene feel alive. So instead of saying the wind was blowing, you get the wind whispered secrets. See how that just changes everything? It instantly adds this layer of mystery and atmosphere. The setting is no longer just a background. It's become a character in your story. So you've got your plan and you've got your creative tools. But you can't just throw them all at the page and hope for the best. You need a solid architectural plan. A truly great description isn't just a jumble of nice sentences. It has a clear, powerful structure, just like a great story. And here is a proven 4-part structure that just works. Every time, you start with a hook to grab the reader's attention. Then you build out the scene in the body paragraphs, using all those sensory details you planned. You build up to a climax, the most intense moment, and you finish with a reflection that gives the whole thing meaning. Let's look at the hook. This is your first impression, and it sets the entire tone. This sentence doesn't just describe the sun, it creates a feeling of happy anticipation with words like golden rays and our sparkling stream simile. It pulls the reader right in. Now, in the body, this is where your 5 senses plan really pays off. This sentence combines sound, the pounded rhythmically,
with a feeling, that thrilling energy. You're building the atmosphere. The reader doesn't just see the race, they can actually feel it.
And then the climax. This is your showstopper. This is where you zoom in on the peak action. And notice the language here. Time seems to stretch, swelling like a wave. It's not just describing the end of a race, it's describing the intense feeling of that final heart-pounding moment.
And finally, to wrap it all up, the reflection. This is where you zoom back out and tell the reader why this moment mattered. It's your chance to answer the examiner's big, unspoken question, so what? It gives your piece a satisfying, memorable ending.
Okay, you've mastered the blueprint, the language, and the structure. You're already well on your way. But are you ready to go from good to truly great? Let's dive into some advanced techniques from the Elite Writer's Toolkit that will make your work shine.
If you only remember one thing, please let it be this: show, don't tell. Telling is saying, the lions were scary. Okay, sure. But showing is describing two of the lions starting up a full-throated roar. Don't just tell me they were scary, make me feel scared by what you describe. That's the difference right there. And here are a couple more quick pro tips. First, mix up your sentences. A short, punchy sentence can create real impact. A long, flowing one can paint a rich, detailed picture. Think of it like music. You need to vary the rhythm. Second, use transition phrases to guide your readers smoothly from one idea to the next. It makes everything feel more connected and logical.
Phew! Okay, we've covered a ton of ground, from getting in the examiner's head to the nitty-gritty of sentence structure. So let's bring it all home and wrap this up with your clear, actionable next steps.
Here it is, your mission checklist. The next time you sit down to write, make sure you hit all 5 of these points. Plan with all 5 senses, weave in similes and personification. Build your piece with that 4-part structure. Always, always show, don't tell. And finally, mix up your sentences to create a great rhythm. So remember, that blank page in front of you, it's not an enemy. It's not something to be afraid of. It's a canvas. It's an opportunity. You now have the blueprint, the tools, and the techniques. The only real question left is, what world are you going to create?